Joining us on BBC News. First of all, how significant is this US deployment in the region? How big is it?
Thank you very much. It's worth adding that I'm actually an entrepreneur in a lot of defense security technology. So I'm still up to my eyeballs in these types of topics. The buildup is huge. It's obviously prepared for something like an exfiltration, and perhaps some control, obviously for reconnaissance and surveillance and intelligence, but also for a possible exfiltration of several individuals and perhaps some control of airports and ports. It's not a force big enough for a substantial land invasion. That's not what these forces look like. That would be a different configuration and a much bigger thing. But it's definitely more than just interdicting drug boats.
So exfiltration, when you just explain that for us, what does that mean and which individuals do you think could be targeted?
Well, obviously, Nicolás Maduro, I mean, he has a $50 million price on his head. And so therefore, the United States has made it clear that they want him captured. I mean, there's a wanted poster, wanted for $50 million, and as well with Diosdado Cabello, who is for a lower price. They originally started at 10 million, then doubled, and now we're up to 50. So that's no secret. It's also no secret that the Venezuelan people want Maduro out, because they voted in an overwhelming landslide in the last election to get him out. And we've been having protests since 2017. So you have a confluence of the Venezuelan people who want the dictator out of the presidential palace, and the United States that has clearly prioritized his capture with a price on his head. So those would be, it would be Diosdado Cabello and Nicolás Maduro, and possibly they might try and go after what we call the Rodriguez siblings, Jorge and Delcy Rodriguez. Delcy is the vice president, but perhaps if you capture Maduro, it's something that we refer to as shaking the tree, right? So then the others, you start to destabilize a transnational criminal organization, which I wrote about in my 2017
just to
book.
ask you a question about that, it's not just...
And then they would make deals.
Not just an alleged criminal network, but this would be destabilizing a country. You say President Maduro is not popular in Venezuela, but this would be essentially regime change. Not lots of countries would survive that.
Well, it's regime change. First of all, he's illegitimate. So the regime was supposed to have changed in last year's peaceful elections. The Venezuelan people have done absolutely everything with every changing rule book, met every standard, and have been up in arms with peaceful protests since 2017, where his choice to deal with the peaceful protests was to shoot little boys with burn marks from the bullets that were shot at such close range and run them over with armored personnel carriers. I and many others, everybody in my group, has had dozens of friends tortured to death. And this is not regime change. It is the restoration of democracy. The Venezuelans won, his opposition won an election, and he persists in sitting there. This is a very different situation from taking out, let's say, a very popular president. He is not a popular president. The people want him out. And they also, and it's not like you don't know who to replace him with. The person who won the election last year and the cabinet in waiting, most of which is in Madrid, where I now am, will take over. So there is the restoration of those people that were elected to come and lead the people as they wanted.
Important developments there in Venezuela and in the Caribbean and Latin American region. Dr. Vanessa Neumann, thank you for bringing us your thoughts here on BBC.